Hey guys, hope you are all having a fantastic Christmas holiday full of joy and happiness. Today, we are going to talk about a variety of subjects, but all are pertaining AMC. Caveat: some of the things we are going to go over is extremely negative, enough that I expect many of you to unsubscribe and declare me a shill, because my opinion on these things not only greatly contradicts what the rest of the community wants you to believe, but also the fact I am going to be calling things for what they are with no filter or care about feelings. My mission with this channel is to provide you news and diligence with an unbiased approach so that you can make your own decisions with the best legitimate information out there, so let's rip off the band-aid and just get it over with. The recent changes and developments in regards to AMC are not good, at least for investors, and that is an undeniable fact. AMC announced this past Thursday that it would raise $110 million in new equity capital through the sale of its preferred stock and proposed a reverse stock split, which resulted in AMC share price tanking. Antara Capital, the current AMC debt holder, will buy APE units at an average price of 66 cents per share while also exchanging $100 million in debt for about 91 million APE units, which would reduce AMC's annual interest expense by about $10 million. The company is also looking to hold a meeting for APE and AMC shareholders to vote on converting APE units into AMC shares and propose a reverse split of AMC shares at a 1-to-10 ration. When these news came out, it seemed that two camps quickly formed, with one of them agreeing this would be most beneficial for investors and one that argues it's further evidence to suggest that AMC shareholders are going to get further screwed up, and I agree with the latter. But before I even begin to touch on why this is, let us all take a moment to reflect on the issuance of APE units. Upon its implementation, I believed myself to be one of the few notable AMC YouTube channels to say that this would result in very negative consequences for investors, and I was right. You see, every AMC influencer took time out of their day to shame anyone who thought APE units were bad. Their main argument was based on the principle that with the issuance, the real number of naked shares would be exposed, that we would have the critical evidence needed to prove that the float is way bigger than it should be. The other reason was that with its implementation, APE would allow AMC to have another squeeze run that would result in it breaking the downward trend it has been following for over a year. None of these two things happened, not even close. AMC company made some money out of issuing APE units while simultaneously greatly diminishing the value of shareholders in AMC as a whole. Unless I have been looking at the wrong charts, APE units had a peak of $10.50 near the beginning of their implementation. Now, they recently sat at a low of 65 cents per unit, though these past 2 days they ran up above $1.70 due to the news. Shareholder value for AMC wasn't just diminished, it was tarnished. AMC might have raised $100 million to help it pay its debt, but it was the expense of shareholders, which is 100% exactly what I freaking told you guys would happen when APE units were announced. AMC as a company is not doing well, and this announcement that they raised $100 million is not as positive as they might make it seem. AMC is still insurmountably indebted, and though the money they generated will help them, they are still profoundly stuck in a huge hole. The problem I have with AMC is that they are not generating money by creating value, but rather trying to generate it by indirectly screwing their shareholders over. Now, there is a lot of shareholders that are somehow fine with this. They are okay with buying and watching their investment continue draining as the money is passed from their account into AMC if it means that in the very long term, AMC will settle its debt and become profitable. However, the problem with this is that AMC is not generating a lot of money as a business, and though they have beat earnings these past couple of quarters, which is good, they are not generating enough. I understand the sentiment from shareholders and fans of AMC that they need to eliminate debt as soon as possible because that debt will sink the company as a whole if it's not dealt with, but the cost of doing so appears to be at the behest of shareholders themselves without the guarantee that AMC will be saved if done so. It's more like a gamble in the dark itself. AMC announcing a reverse split has been met with tons of controversy, and though I am certain the vote will go through, I am not sure it will lead to shareholder value. In fact, I am actually pretty certain that once AMC finalizes that reverse split, in the coming months, the stock price for AMC will continue going down. This is because of a variety of realities that we as a community must begin to accept. With the economy and overall stock market selling off, AMC has too been exposed to that. With an economy that is set to continue decaying in coming months for an unforeseeable future, there is no bullish thesis that AMC stock will hold, much less rise. AMC needs to hit home run after home run back-to-back incoming earning reports in order to hold neutral. Beating earnings is no longer enough. A big reason for this is that the popularity of AMC has fallen, which is something I get a lot of heat for saying. This is no longer 2021. AMC is not as popular of an investment because pretty much everyone that was going to invest in this risky play has already gotten in it for the most part. Given that it has been downtrending for a long time, it does not look attractive to potential new investors, and given the media is not talking about it 24/7 anymore, it is not getting that much free advertising and exposure. This has resulted in a lack of relative high volume, and that has caused the stock price to fall. Again, with a reverse split, what AMC is doing is saving AMC from getting potentially delisted as its value has fallen, but by doing that, it also gives shorter plenty of ammo to short it even more. Given the fundamentally as a business, AMC has not produced anything valuable to generate income. All it has done is make money by screwing over investors through APE units. It is unlikely that the outcome of this will be positive. If this wasn't enough, we are looking at probably having the worst year for the economy overall in 2023. With higher costs of inflation and fears of stagflation all around, there will be less money going around for people to afford a trip to theaters. That means less revenue overall for the company, which means less potential profits. I have said over and over that AMC needs to invest in itself to find ways to create value for consumers so that their revenue goes up. They have a crappy streaming service that nobody has. Instead of investing in a mining company looking for gold, they should have invested in acquisition of a small production house to generate relatively cheap movies to have in their theaters and then move them to their streaming service. Not only would AMC enjoy higher traffic in their theaters, but they would revamp their decaying streaming service, which means revolving revenue monthly. I said this in my Discord. AMC should have looked to buy AMC Networks, which are the owners of the Walking Dead series among other notable franchises. They could make a lot of money pumping these shows on their streaming services along with the millions of dollars they would make through merchandise. Remember, Adam Aaron said they were looking to sell merchandise at their theaters. Imagine how much more products they could pump with the rights to some of the biggest TV shows in history. Between AMC and GameStop, AMC has the biggest potential for a comeback. Theaters are not going to go away if management can remain smart and solvent around the challenges presented in these times. Instead, AMC is blundering that potential by hyper-focusing on the areas for growth and instead opting to generate income by screwing over shareholder value. A reverse stock split is not going to move the valuation of AMC up, it is not going to make it any more appealing to new investors, it is not going to help them generate more money, and it will not help your portfolio. The vote is going to pass, and the only thing that is going to happen is shareholder value continuing to go down. Reverse stock splits are generally not that good for the market cap of companies, and AMC does not fill any quota that makes me believe it will be an exception to the rule. Just the overall weight of the market conditions are going to ensure that the stock price plummets. Believe me, I take no pleasure in saying these things. I have been in this movement and community since AMC began running up, and me saying these things puts me in the crosshairs of all haters in the community, but I speak the truth that nobody wants to hear because nobody else is going to say it. I want AMC to succeed because I am a loving customer of theaters, and because I strongly believe that if management at AMC was to become more serious about saving their own company through creating value for customers, they would slowly but surely manage to turn this company around easily. One of my main pet peeves with the AMC community is that anytime someone says something negative, people resolve to assume that either someone is a planted bot by a hedge fund or that the person got paid, and given the general tone of this video, I am sure that this will be what most people will think of me, at least a substantial amount of you, so I propose a solution. I propose that for a moment you leave the AMC groups and read up on what other investors and analysts are saying about AMC. Read through the different proposals and theses put out there about AMC and their ability to generate money from a fundamental level, and then try to find a reasonable excuse in how AMC can escape from this bearish predicament. Right now, the assumption is that if we continue to hold, eventually AMC will squeeze, the company will pay off its debt, and AMC will be rich along with their shareholders. I still believe AMC to be shorted, and I believe that it can mow us if it can survive long enough and turn the company around, but not solely through holding endlessly. AMC management is desperate for cash, and it has turned to investors to suck it out of them. I am no longer buying AMC shares, at least until the company can begin to turn things around instead of opting to indirectly generate money through my own investment. Whatever happens will happen. Again, I still do believe in MOIS, but I do not have confidence in Adam Aaron or his management style. There has been plenty of opportunities for the company to find ways to make money and turn the business around, and I personally don't like the direction they have taken. I do not expect all of you to agree, and I am totally fine by that. Many see this as a means to an end, and I totally respect that. This is my view, and my thesis on the future of AMC is based on factual evidence that is easily researched. I welcome all types of criticism in my comments, but the only thing I will not tolerate is people using this to bully any individual that differs. This community has a very intolerant habit of putting others down for questioning general assumptions, and that will not be tolerated in my comments. Agree to disagree, tell me why, and we can discuss it. I am not looking to change anyone's opinion. I am simply here to inform you of my own findings. I love AMC and I love theaters, and it saddens me to say that this reverse split is likely to result in further shareholder value diminishing because the economy is due to decay further in 2023, because fundamentally AMC is very unattractive, and because it is likely to continue to lose popularity in coming months. Maybe I am wrong, and that would be beneficial for all shareholders, but this is the truth as I see it. I got a crap ton of hate for dismissing APE as bad for investors, and yet here we are months later. APE did nothing for you, and even with the money it generated AMC, it is still nowhere near as effective to terminate its debt and help it substantially. I say this not to brag, but to warn you that the truth is not always pleasant, and that you should take my opinion as much more than just a shill if you see it that way. Anyways, I wish you all a fantastic rest of your day. I love you all to death and to the moon.